If you're traveling in India and you need one dish that you want to rely on, that's made in seconds, is the same everywhere, hard to mess up, trust the masala dosa. This is the solemn advice of a North Indian friend of mine. A South Indian dish may have conquered the country today, but 25 years ago, when I was a South Indian growing up in North India, the story was very, very different. In the late 80s, I am a pre-teen growing up in Fazilka, in the state of Punjab. This is a city you will have some difficulty to locate even on a largish map of India. It had one clock tower, one railway station, a couple of hundred houses and a large army cantonment. And of course only one school that provided English language education of any kind. Okay. So my father is an army officer, he was posted there, that's how I landed up there. So I am admitted to the 5th standard. My first day is like that of any strange boy in school. The children are not ready to open up to you, so you do your lessons, you eat your tiffin and you go home all by yourself. The next day, everything had changed. Wild rumors had spread that a foreigner had joined the school. A Madrasi. Short and dark and very strange. He speaks English. See, to put it in perspective, the kids there had never seen anyone who was not from their own tehsil. To see someone from another district, leave alone another state, was a foreign experience to them. So, my day in school progresses and I notice something curious. Groups of children from the other classes are coming and staring at my classroom window. If I glance at them, they duck. So when the recess bell rings, this trickle becomes a deluge. They just mob me. And they all want to know who I am. They want to see the Madrasi. Hey, Madras kithe aega? To inna kala kyun hai? Now to put kala in some perspective, right? Most people in Fazilka are about as white as Lara hai. Can you come here, please? Put your hand up like this. See, this way, my hand, her hand. So, this is black, jet black for them. Okay. So it took me all my scanty Hindi to try and explain to them that I was as Indian as them. Not happening. If you are an Indian, how come you cannot speak Hindi? Okay. This used to be the first of this very half arrogant, half ignorant notion among most North Indians that if you are an Indian, you speak Hindi. Okay. Now, luckily for me, before any more trouble happened, the teacher saw this huge crowd outside the class, so they picked up their canes, whacked a few boys, they all ran off, and I was saved. But I could never dispel the idea that I was a foreigner. Day 3 comes the affair of my tiffin box. It is pulled out of my school bag, opened and circulated for inspection without as much as a will you please. My consent is assumed. For them, they can pull out anyone's things from anyone's bags and that's okay. And I am free to do the same. And I am appalled. This has never happened to me. But no. Now, what does it contain? It contains idlis. Strange, round, white things that they have never seen. They look like eggs, but they don't taste like eggs. I said it's an idli. What is it made of? Rice. To see Madras which pranthe nahi khande? No. Nahi khande pranthe? No. Kya khande ho? Idli. So, very curious now. They parcel out my idli into little bits and it's shared across the class and it's gone before I can say anything. Am I hungry? I can help myself to their parathas. I was so shy, so I went hungry that day. Okay. The next day, day 4, I am very solemnly informed by all of them that I have been eating the wrong thing all my life. You see, they had gone and told their mothers about this new phenomenon in their school. That's me. And the thing that this phenomenon eats started my idlis. So now their mothers told them, Good children eat parathas. Really good children eat parathas with lots and lots of ghee. Rice is only good for biryani at weddings. So they want to make me into a good boy. So they offer their parathas, half-eaten parathas. And when I mean offer, it is the Punjabi meaning of the word offer, which is open my mouth and stuff that thing down my throat, whether I want it or not. Okay, there is no scope for polite refusal. Now, luckily for me, my class teacher, one Mrs. Doda, was a pillar of support those days. You see, she had a better understanding of life beyond Fazilka, because she had been to teacher training school in Ludhiana, which is the next district. So she explained to the class that it's morally possible and permissible to eat things other than parathas, like roti, chapati, naan, kulcha. Maybe not in Italy though. Not so good. It's also possible that your mother tongue may not be Hindi or Punjabi. Okay? But see, as a foreigner, he is doing his utmost. He is learning your language. Okay? You see, their marks were nothing like their fluency. Okay? I would top the class in Hindi despite being completely unable to speak. But this complete idea that you could be an Indian who does not eat parathas, who does not speak idlis, who does not eat parathas, who does not speak Hindi, was indigestible and inaudible to her. Okay. But yes, she was a support, and that support had its costs, which I realized in my history and my math class. Now, the history syllabus of a CBSE school will teach you India's history from Mauryan times to till independence. Okay? And there is nothing about Madras in those books. Okay? I said South Indians have contributed a lot to our history. You know, Rajaraja Chola established a huge empire in his time, 1,000 years back. Rajaji and Subramanya Bharati have been great contributors to the freedom struggle. They open their books, they sincerely look through all the pages, those names are not there. Ergo, Madras foreign aega re. Okay. Maths was trouble in the other direction. You see, Miss Doda, because she'd been to Ludhiana, she has seen other South Indians, okay. Most South Indians in the north work in banking, which means there is this lovely prejudice that they have among themselves that South Indians are good at math. So, for me, it became a very practical torture. It means every time she had to get a sum done on the board, I was the first choice. Okay? And though I am a Madrasi, I am really incompetent in math. So that means a whole lot of withering insults, which I put up with. Okay? In the next few months, luckily, I got more familiar with my classmates, my grasp of Hindi was rising. You know, one advice I'll give you all is whenever you're learning a new alphabet, please learn the swear words first. If you can say Madar Chot Ben Chot, they think you're a Hindi speaker. Yeah? So I had to make a few sacrifices. I gave up those idlis, I brought roti sabzi to the class. I worked harder at my math homework. Okay. Now come back to our time. 25 years since then. It sounds very xenophobic and racist for them to have done all that. But trust me, a lot of the stuff we have now wasn't there then. We've got globalization now, we've got cable TV, we've got the IT revolution. A lot of North Indians have migrated to jobs to Bangalore and Hyderabad, and then there's this huge rising demand for English education. So fewer North Indians now get very bothered about my patriotic duty to learn Hindi. Okay. For the ones that do, I trot out this following argument in pure Hindi. Okay. अगर संख्या राष्ट्रभाषा का आधार है, तो इसी आधार पर चूहे, that is mouse, को राष्ट्र प्राणी होना चाहिए, और कौवा, that is crow, को राष्ट्र पक्षी होना चाहिए. This flawless delivery ensures that the argument terminates there. Okay. Food, however, has led where our politicians haven't. Food unites our country. We eat and let eat. As we say, khao aur khane do. So I'll come back to the masala dosa that I started with. I call it the Rustam-e-Hind, the champion of India. I have a Kashmiri friend who swears very solemnly that no one can make better masala dosa than the guy at Lal Chowk, Srinagar. We South Indians do not know how to make the stuff. Now, I'm wondering, why is he saying this? And then I figured out, now his notion of masala is saunf, nutmeg, Kashmiri mirchi, and the kind of herbs he gets there. Turmeric and chili, which is our notion of spice, is not part of his diet. Okay. Also, the rice that he uses is RS Pura rice. It's a very different kind of rice from the South Indian way. So, in fact, he's been eating a completely different creature. Okay. I've also had a Chandigarh bus stand version in which that dosa floats in a 1 cm layer of oil. It has to be done the Punjabi way. In Kolkata, Esplanade, I've gone and eaten masala dosa. Okay? One dosa, and it is completely smothered in that potato mix. You can't see the dosa. Well, for them, value for money is not enough. There is a French restaurant called Suzette in town. I've gone and eaten masala dosa there also. They insist that it is called a crepe Suzette, that they invented it, and they put cheese and raw tomato in it, not our potato masala. But they say it's theirs. I say no, it's our masala dosa. They ruled in Pondicherry, they must have picked it up there and then Frenchified it. So, as for this idli, okay, which I abandoned for a long part of my life, I still get a little traumatized when I have to get idlis for breakfast. So I go to this restaurant, and there's this whole bunch of North Indians sitting next to me, and the waiter comes and they ask for idli, and he asks them this question, Sir ji, sambar dal ke ya sambar alag? And without batting an eyelid, they can answer that question perfectly. They are not surprised at all, and I get surprised. The idli has become so integral to India in just these 25 years. Okay? I also have to live with this notion it is not poor South Indian fare anymore. I get people who tell me that it is this nutritious multigrain breakfast. Low fat. And then I must be open to these ideas that there is such a thing as a Zen idli, idli chaat, idli fry, and some other such blasphemies. Fine, small compromises to get integrated into the mainstream. Okay, and some things work. Okay, the masala dosa goes down very well with a glass of Punjabi lassi. Okay, and you can match filter coffee with aloo da paratha, it works. Okay, but no Zen idlis, please. So, hey, this Madrasi is no longer an outsider in his own country. If I tell people I'm a Madrasi, and I like that term Madrasi, okay, because when I was growing up in the army, they used to have this saying, when the going gets tough, call the Madrasi. But now if I tell people I'm a Madrasi, they'll calmly ask me which of the 5 South Indian states I belong to. And do I belong to Telangana, by the way? They've all heard of Telangana and they want to show that knowledge to me. See, it shows their awareness that there are 5 states in India. I have a sharp suspicion that it only tells me that they have seen this film Chennai Express. Okay? Which for some reason was shot entirely in Goa, which is not in China. Okay? Nevertheless, it's a recognition that yours truly is unquestionably Indian. There is this faint hope, very faint hope, that I may have idli in my tiffin box and that it comes with gunpowder chutney. If I let that be known, that's the end of it, I will stay hungry again. Yeah? But honestly, I'm going to close here. You go to Leh, you go to Sikkim, you go to Meghalaya, you go to Arunachal Pradesh, you go to Gujarat, you go to MP, you want something to eat, ask for a masala dosa.